Good morning. I'm Reverend Pat Palmer, and I'm so happy to have the opportunity to welcome everybody to what I call, this is for me, I don't know how it is for you, but I call this my most important hour of the week, really, because it's the one time that I kind of pull out of everything going on. I'm here, I'm present, and I'm being reminded, not only by who's ever speaking on Sunday, by the people I talk with, by everyone else, and by myself, about my real self, about that deep, eternal power that is at our disposal and is deep within us. And so it's cool to actually talk about that with other people and remember it and kind of set the grounding for our whole week, you know? So I can see we're a little sparse because of the partying last night. That was so fun. So listen, we're going to wake up by doing a song together. Sky, you ready? All right. You got to stand up. Stand up for this one. It's Carolyn. You going to come up?
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. You all. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friend, Spirit. Thank you for my friend.
Thank you for my friend, Spirit. Thank you for my friends.
This healing, my wonderful friends.
This healing, my wonderful friends.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
For this wonderful day.
This wonderful day.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
Yeah. Okay, be seated if you would. And we'll use this beautiful Tibetan bowl to sound the chime to kind of take us to a different space. So if you would join me in prayer. I open to awareness of the divine, of the power within, without, in and through everything. And I call upon that presence right here and right now as my support, as my guidance, as the love that I am and that I express in the world. I'm so grateful to be here, to be alive, to be aware. It is all good, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Pat Palmer. And thanks also to Sky Nelson, who opened us up with that song. He has been here before, but those of you who may not know him, he's a recording artist and has some CDs over there entitled The World Ocean. Not only that, he's an author, and he has a book coming out in March, but you can pre-order it. It's called Living in the Flow. Here's a card from it. And he's also a physicist, studying the science of synchronicity and the physics of flow. So go talk to him after the service and see him at the table, and I know you're going to enjoy hearing his music. And now it's still our turn to sing. We're going to do our fall theme song. So join in where you can, if it's just the chorus, even if it's just "May It Be So." I float on the ocean of possibility, buoyed by faith and poetry. I quiet, I soften. worlds come apart, I sense the mind that lives in the heart. I'm loving, I'm knowing, accepting, I breathe. May it be so. I am fully present to what's unfolding now, resting, alert, filled with grace. I let go of resistance and let God life flow, and all is divine in this place. Here in this moment was only what is, and no separation exists. I'm grateful, I'm living, I'm present, I breathe. May it be so. May it be so. And now I'd like to bring Steve Listag up. He's going to be leading us through today's service. Enjoy.
I really should pay attention to my worship assistant schedule and not schedule the day after our big party we had yesterday. But it's all worth it. I see a few of you out there that were there too. Fantastic. Yeah, there they are. And they're excited and happy still. And we had a wonderful party last night here. It's our annual fundraiser, Come to the Table. And Medora, I'm happy to report to you as our acting head minister that your community raised over $41,000 in profits last night. So it was a fantastic evening. Tommy's band was awesome. It was so energizing that even after I got home, I was up for 2.5 hours. I just couldn't sleep. So wonderful, wonderful event. And I didn't realize how tired I was until our opening song. And I'm sitting there next to Lisa, and Pat's up here singing with Carolyn, and I'm going, wow, dang, she's got a good voice. Why isn't Pat sing more often? I'm going, she's got her mic, and she's mouthing the words, and then Carolyn stepped away, and then I saw Sky. Sky was actually doing the singing, and I thought, dang, you got a good voice, Sky. So I'm glad we're going to hear some more of you. I hope you have something really upbeat and for all of us that attended the party last night. Anyway, it's good to be here, and I'm very, very proud of this community for continually every year showing up at these events and sharing their prosperity in a way that helps keep our beautiful campus functioning and our employees paid and keeping a home for us all to gather and explore our spiritual paths together. So good job, Unity in Marin. Thank you. Now, some who drove by last night think we're a partying community, which we are, but we're also a spiritual community, committed to authenticity in the expression of love and support for each other and living an awakened, enlightened life. And from that vision statement, everything spins off from, and that's what we do here at Unity in Marin, which you all are very well aware. And we have 3 core commitments that we live our lives daily from, and they are to connect, grow, and serve. And if this is your first time at Unity, if you could get one thing out of this service today, remember those 3 words: connect, grow, and serve. These are proven, direct paths to enlightenment, which is just basically knowing yourself. And so please recite our first core commitment, which is to connect together. We connect with spirit, inspiring each other, the community, and the world. And we share our joys and celebrations here at Unity Marin, but we also share our sadness for the loss of one of our members. Lois Sitton had made her transition last month, and sweet little lady always sat right over there, involved in the community for years and years and years. Her family just wants you all to know how much she appreciated the love and support that she felt here at Unity Marin. So we miss you, Lois. Coming up this Wednesday night service, our midweek service, Karen Rafton from our community will be doing her special thing. We are all super, naturally. I remember a song from the 70s, and maybe some of you musicians out there can help me remember that. Maybe it was Earth, Wind, and Fire. Super. Yeah, I'm hearing whoever. What was it? Here we go. We are all super, naturally. Well, she was at the party last night, too, so she's no help. Anyway, Karen is a great speaker, and you'll enjoy our Wednesday night service. It's a great pickup in the middle of the week to come here, and the services are a little bit different. So every week it's something different and enjoyable, lots of music, so please check that out. And then another member of our community, Jessica Batha, she's going to have a little talk in the afternoon on October 30th, exploring our spiritual language. And I love the little book here by Paul Hasselbeck, who's spoken here before, The Truth About What You Know That Just Ain't So. And boy, is that not true for all of us. You know, we think we know, but we don't necessarily. And the more we question what our own beliefs are, I think the healthier we are as a person. And I'm sure she'll be talking about those subjects, and that'll be wonderful to support Jess. Wendy was at the party last night too, and look at her, perky as ever, bringing up our prayer box. I know there were a lot of requests there early in the week for winning the raffle prizes, and some of your prayers were answered, Anil. But seriously, all the prayers that you put in this box this past week, and these could be anything from health issues, relationship issues, whatever it is that's weighing on your heart, they go in this box. And then we have a team here at Uni Marin that will pray with you for 30 days, which in itself is pretty awesome, because all they do is hold you in the light and love of God and affirm for you individually the truth that they know about you, and that is that you are a child of God. And it's not what's bothering us or what our dis-ease may be. It really comes down on how we approach and look at it, and we all have that choice, and they help you facilitate that choice in you to see yourself happy, healthy, and whole. And after 30 days, we send those requests to Silent Unity, where they've been praying 24/7 for over 100 years. And it's quite a program right there in itself. Thanks, Wendy. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like you to get comfortable in your chair. I'm going to read today's daily word, and we're going to follow that with a few moments of silent meditation. And today's daily word is appropriately rejoice. I rejoice in unlimited possibilities. The Apostle Paul describes himself in his second letter to the Corinthians as sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. He calls upon his followers in Philippi to rejoice in the Lord always. By recognizing and thinking about the positive, the lovely, the excellent, and the praiseworthy energies in my life, I claim them and increase them. I rejoice when I both feel and express the joy of eternal spirit. There is energy in the infinite good that brings all people together in consciousness. I join with others in knowing and affirming that nothing is denied us through faith. I keep my focus on positive energies, bringing them into greater expression in my life. And I rejoice in unlimited possibilities. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say, rejoice.
I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. Everything that I look at, I get attached. But I'm not gonna give weight to the wounds of my past. When it's me that will lose if I choose to resent what I have. But since I've got another chance, I'm gonna live in love, and I'm gonna do what it takes to let go. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. Everything that I look at, I get sucked in. I'm already miles beyond it by the time I begin. And the details of the moment are already the past. But since I've got another chance, I'm gonna live in love, and I'm gonna do what it takes to let go. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. I'm gonna hold your heart as precious as anything that I know. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. I'm gonna live in love, and I'm gonna do what it takes to let go. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna hold your heart as precious as anything that I know. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show. I'm gonna take my seat and let love run the show.
They like you, Sky. That was awesome. Me too.
That wasn't the wake-up song.
No, but it put us all in a really good mood, so thank you. I saw a lot of tilted heads, and that's wonderful. Hey, is anyone out here, sitting here right now, here for the very first time? I'm just curious. Raise your hand. Let me see. No one? Okay, let's just skip that announcement then. No. Because there's people on the computer probably watching for the first time, and this is just an opportunity for me to welcome you. We're a wonderful community, and yeah, come forward anyway so the cameras can see you. Just smile at them. because there are people watching online. We have people watching all over the world, and once in a while they will hit that little link and say, yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about Unity and Marin. So these are very significant people in the community if you're watching online, so this would be a great opportunity for you to link on and ask for your welcome packet. And they will send you a coffee mug. Colleen, why don't you model that a little bit? There you go. And it's just our way of saying thank you for tuning in and watching, and come check us out in person if you're ever around. Oh, we do have someone new here. Thank you. Well, for you, this is all for you. Welcome. Colleen, over here. There we go. There we go. You're a little shy. It took you a while to raise your hand, but you did it. Thank you. Hey, join us after the service. We have a great hospitality. We have coffee, food. We have lots of information and people willing to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. So thanks for coming in and checking us out. And thanks for coming on this day, because this is the day you came, and we find that to be very significant. You'll learn more about that later. Okay, our second core commitment is to grow. Please join me in this affirmation. We grow in consciousness through education, healing, and prayer. One of the things I find really cool about Unity, and I think this is probably the first spiritual community that started looking into bridging spirituality with science. And every year, there's more and more evidence that indicates that there is no separation of spirituality in science or spirituality in anything. And here's, as a musician, as a physicist, I mean, music and physics, they seem so opposite, but actually they're very, very similar in so many ways. That's it. He knows what I'm talking about. I mean, I know what I'm talking about. He doesn't know what I'm talking about, but because he's also a physicist. But there is something really healing for the planet, I think. And I know for me personally, because I had a scientist father and a spiritual mother, and they didn't get along very well. And they never figured it out. So when I start seeing these kind of events coming up, I'm really happy for our planet. So this gentleman, Joseph Selby, will be talking about the intersections of science and spirituality, which Sky demonstrated. This is the sign for us. If you ever see this, this is the new sign. You know, we used to do peace in the 60s, and now it's, yeah, there we go. So I'll practice it. Yeah, that's right. Bridging science and spirituality, excellent. The ones that didn't do that, you know, you still have a lot to learn, but that's okay. We have lots of time to learn. And then we also have another offering coming up, Is There Life After Death, our continuing series on that subject. Pranasati will be here on October 19th. Those are always very fascinating to hear true life accounts of people that have experienced what it is to lose your life, and then for the reasons that they'll share, how they came back to life. Always fascinating. And one of my favorite things in a spiritual community is to go deeper. And one of the ways to go deeper is to know more and more about what it is that we've been studying for 2,000 years, particularly in Christianity. And Reverend Medora has a really special gift, I think, in explaining the history and what was going on at the time when these scriptures were written. And it really changes the emphasis and the focus on the teachings. I mean, it's dramatically different than if you just read the Bible without any knowledge of what's going on at the time and what the people meant and how that is represented in the stories. And I tell you, it changes the whole book for me. So this is a wonderful offering that Reverend Medora is offering to our community, so make sure you sign up in the hub for that. Okay, let's, you guys want to sit or do you want to stand for our singing our, you want to stand? Okay, go ahead, let's stand. Join me in singing our statement of truth. Hey, it's your house.
There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my life and in the universe. God the good in all, through all, and over all. There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my life and in the universe. Good morning. I'm going to ask you to sing along on this one. Luckily, it's nice and easy. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Let me hear ya. Do 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 do. One more time. Do 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 do. When I was young, I looked up at the tree I would become. I saw so many leaves upon those limbs, and it was effortless to reach inside infinity. With so much time, there's no need to begin. Singing tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Singing tomorrow, don't lead me away. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you by. Clap along. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you by. Let this day pass you by. Keep going. And it may seem like there's a lot of time to get it done. There's always something urgent in the way. But days will congregate in weeks and then in months. And soon you'll find your chances walked away. What are they saying? Singing tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Singing tomorrow, don't lead me away. Stand up and sing with me if you want. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you by. That's it. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you by. It's just right here, right now. Don't let this day pass you by. You are here to make a difference. But you gotta start today. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you by. Let the love fill your heart. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you by. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you by. That's right, I feel you radiating. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you. Don't let this day pass you by. Don't let this day pass you. Da la da 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 da. One more time. La la da 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 da. Go ahead and give someone next to you a high five. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anybody have the time? I didn't mean that. It kind of has a double meaning, doesn't it? I mean, all the time we say, does anybody have the time? And we're going to help somebody who asks that because we all need to know the time, right? All the time. We need to know the time all the time. I loved your song. It was perfect. Don't let this day pass you by, and don't let this life pass you by, which is what we're talking about, isn't it? So anyway, yeah, the double meaning for that. Don't let this, do you have the time? Of course, when we say to people a lot of times, hey, if we need something done or if we want to tell them about something we love, we say, do you have the time to do that? You know, it's automatic. We ask each other that. So it's kind of a double meaning, isn't it? Do you have the time? And I got to say, I don't know if you've experienced this, but so much of the time, the response I get is, gosh, I'm just so busy. Or if I say, how are you to somebody? How are you? Whoa, I've been so busy. Do you notice people respond that? Let me see if you notice people. Yeah, a lot of times you say, how are you? Do you realize all the different ways that question could be answered? It could be answered, oh, I've just been meditating so much more. I'm really happy lately. Or I could say, you know, thanks for asking. I'm kind of worried. You know, my daughter's been this or that. Or how are you? You know, I'm feeling a little bit agitated. You got a minute to sit down and talk? I mean, there's an infinite number of ways we could respond other than, gosh, I've been so busy. But yet, I'm sure I'm guilty of that too. You know, another thing that's automatic, something happened the other day I want to share. Oh, yeah. So on Mondays, I pick up my 2 grandsons from school. One's almost 16 tomorrow. Oh, today's the 7th. He's 16 today. And the other one's 13. And so usually I pick up the 16-year-old first. And so then we picked up the 13-year-old. And he sits right behind me. So, the 16-year-old's working on his permit, so he's driving. And so I have the 13-year-old getting behind me. And so I said to him, hey, Chase, how you doing? He said, fine. I said, Chase, we don't say fine. That's a meaningless response. How you doing? Fine. I said, are you serious? I mean, I wasn't being negative. I was just saying, I really want to know how you're doing. How was your day today? What's the best thing that happened to you today? You know, and then he laughed at me. And I said, I don't want you guys to get into that rut of saying, here's the rut. And I told the boys this, and they laughed. I said, people are so much in the rut of saying fine when they meet you that sometimes somebody will say to me, how are you? And I just don't even answer usually because I know if it's automatic, I know they don't want to hear my life story. So they'd say how, but then they'll say fine as though I asked how are you? It's like, how are you? And I don't say anything and they say fine. It's like they're so used to I know it's just a social thing we do. But still, to me, it means something because how are you is a meaningful thing. Like, how are you? You know, we want to really know. Anyway, so I just thought that was funny. Today, we're going to look at possibilities for changing the perspective about, God, I'm so busy. Or possibilities about not letting this day pass us by so that we're conscious and aware. You know, so we'll talk a little about that. And we're going to do some interactive stuff. So I'm going to ask you something now. And if you're uncomfortable, don't bother. But I'm going to be asking you a couple times to share with somebody near you. So if you're not sitting near anyone at all, you can either share with yourself, or you could go ahead and move. Or just eyeball somebody that you're going to move over to when I ask you to do that. All right, just a heads up. So I wanted to tell you a joke. So, yeah, why wasn't the clock working? It needed a hand. Isn't that awful? I read it. Oh, I got a better one. I gotta pay for that one. Okay, I even have a better one. This is my favorite one. This one is how's it go? Hang on, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, what did the second hand say to the hour hand as it passed it by? I'll see you in a minute. Isn't that so good? Oh, and I want to share something else. I got in the car to come here today, and I had my 50s station on from last night coming home from the party. I was listening to 50s music and rocking out. So I turn on the car turns on. Guess what the song was? I've never heard it before from the 50s. What is the time? I cracked up. It said right on my satellite radio thing, what is the time? I thought, oh, that is cool. I just love synchronicities. To me, synchronicities always, they're like a little kiss of God or a little pat on the shoulder, you know, like I'm going in the right direction. What is the time? I said, thank you, God. Okay. So This is coming, of course, today, the topic from Roger Houston's book, Dropping the Struggle, which many of us are reading and discussing together through our book studies. And this chapter 5 is all about dropping the struggle with time. And one of the main things he deals with in the chapter is the fact that, I forget exactly how he said it, but there's clock time and there's spirit time. And as he says, and as I certainly agree with, we certainly need clock time, don't we? We got to have clock time. I mean, we make appointments, everything. I mean, imagine. I can't imagine living without clock time. The thing is, how do we use it? How do we use the clock time? Does it run us? Is it a hammer over our heads? Or is it something that we kind of use to keep track of our life and to coordinate with other people as we keep track of our group activities? So it's the feeling that we have about clock time that's all important. It's not whether or not we use it. Do we turn our mind and our whole self over to our clock time, you know? The spirit time, of course, those of us who have a spiritual community like this, are aware that there's time on a different level. There's time that is non-existent, if you will, from a spiritual perspective. It's just doesn't even need any measuring. It just needs remembering is all it needs. So, you know, can we infuse, like I love what you said, Sky. This is another way to use this. Can we infuse our clock time idea with spirit time, knowing that that's also going on all the time? One of the ways that I think we fall into the pattern of not being aware of spirit time and that there is that breathing space is because so much of what we do is like we're giving ourselves away to it, like electronics, of course. We hear about that a lot. Some people leave their phone home sometimes. I haven't done that yet. I always have my phone with me. But some people do, you know, they pay attention to that. I went a couple years when I first moved here. I moved here to help take care of my baby grandson. First couple years I moved here, I was so proud of myself. I didn't have a to-do list anymore. And I used to say to people, oh, I'm so glad I moved here. I don't have a to-do list anymore. I mean, you're caring for a 14-month-old who needs a to-do list, you know. But I got to say, as long as the years crept up, I have my to-do list back. And it's so much fun to cross things off, you know. But people have different feelings about that, too. And often I hear from retirees, you know, here I'm retired, and guess what the next thing they say is? I'm busier now than when I was working. Don't we hear that too? Yeah, sure, because we have time to do more, and it kind of pulls us in and pulls us in. So I'd like you to imagine that somebody says to you, how are you? And instead of saying, God, I'm so busy, or even something else, you say to them, I am so busy. I am having the best time. And it's a different attitude. So it's saying, sure, I'm busy, but it's just excited about being busy and so thankful that I can be busy, that I have my health, I have my opportunities to do something. So it's just a different way of responding, isn't it? So it's not our words. It's not whether or not we keep a to-do list. It's not whether or not we take our phone. It's not whether or not I say I'm too busy. It's the feeling that we do with it, you know, that we put it with. So as we know, it's all about our consciousness. The emotions that we hold around anything, whether it's how we discipline our kids, how we handle changing jobs, how we handle being busy, doesn't matter what we're talking about. The thing that really matters is not the forms of how we do it, but how we feel as we do it. Because that emotional energy, it just telegraphs out from us, and guess what? Literally creates our life. Somebody said something to me once, I always remembered it. It was, I think it was a minister, and she said, or maybe I read it somewhere, would you like what you're thinking now to come true in your life? You know, and so I'm transposing that to, would you like what you're feeling when you're talking about something to be creating your life? We have to ask ourselves that question because our feelings do create our life. I often say it's like a psychic megaphone. Our vibration, our frequency that emanates out from us on a subliminal level is what builds our life. So if I'm in frustration, if I'm in tension, if I'm in, God, I wish I wasn't so busy. God, I can't stand this. I wish I had time. You know, all those. It's not my words. It's the feeling that is literally vibrating out from me. So what we want to do really as we become conscious of these ideas is we want to bring more spirit time into our clock time, our necessity, you know, like the qualities of spirit, you know, order and beauty and love and appreciation, power, all those qualities of spirit. We can bring those into our daily dealings with whatever we're doing, our clock time. Oh, I want to share something. It's a little weird, but when I wake up in the morning, you know, all along the years, you have different patterns. You do this for a while, and you do this for a while. So my latest thing this last year or so is when I wake up in the morning, I have my 2 cats, and I open the door, and they jump in bed with me, and I pet them. I might listen to a YouTube spiritual talk, or I might just pray or whatever, but I'm petting my kitties, but they've been usurped. It's hard for me to say this out loud and believe it, but it's the truth. In my window that looks out into the trees at the side of my bed, I noticed about 3 weeks ago this spider that was there. And every morning I'd wake up, and I don't like spiders. I'm not crazy about spiders. No offense, but I'm just not. Who knows why? So, but I looked at him. And then I noticed the next day, I looked at him, and he's moving around some. And then I got where I looked for him when I woke up. I'd open my eyes, because I thought, how long is a spider going to stay in one place? Not long, you know. He's there day after day after day. And then a few times I got to watch him, and he's right silhouetted against the sky, so I can see him so clearly. And he's like making his web, and I just watch him. And the cats are there, and I'm petting him. My attention is on the spider. And so I'm just watching him weave his web, and it's just so beautiful. The intricacies of it, you know. And I can't see the web. That's too far away for these eyeballs. But I can see the spider making the web and crawling around it, you know. I've been a little afraid I was going to see him eat something caught in it, but that hasn't happened. Thank you. Although I'm sure he does it during the night when I'm not aware. But anyway, so and one day I saw this tiny little spider over in the other corner. This was only one time. He was making a web, and I laughed to myself. I thought, it's like you give the kids the land next door and they're building a house, you know. It's like maybe one of his offspring or something was going ahead and doing it too. But anyway, I thought about how a couple times a year I have somebody come in and help me with fall cleaning and spring cleaning. And I thought, God, when she comes in a couple weeks, I'm going to have to tell her, don't hurt that spider, you know, because if I forget to mention it, he could just be wiped out, all his work. And then I thought, that's like our lives when we die. You know, we could say, oh, I did all those years, all the webs I wove, all the things I did, and here I'm about to die. So it just made me realize we're so invested in our lives. We really want to make them beautiful. And the truth is, our lives are so temporary. This is all temporary, and hopefully we are putting love into it, and we are creating it beautifully and with order, like a spider web. And so anyway, I've gotten to love this guy. If you don't like spiders, I want you to close your eyes, because I brought a picture of him. Could you put that picture up? Oh, there he is, my buddy. Hey, I want to have a contest. You can name him. I want to know somebody. I haven't named him yet. Oh, you can take that down. We don't want to look at it too long. Anyway, so that's just, I thought of sharing that example because for me that's like one way to bring the love and the order and the awareness of eternal life into the start of my day in the morning. So that's what I'm talking about, is taking our clock time things and finding, and no kids are here? Okay. When you're laying in bed alone in the morning, you gotta go for some kind of excitement, right? No, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. I say, that's how I start my day. I'm not hugging anybody. What I'm doing is I'm looking at my spider and I'm saying, I really love you. I'm so glad you're in my life. It's fun, you know. It's just like we do with each other. We affirm each other. So I wanted to say another way that I have found, and this just kind of came about accidentally, to bring the feeling of God, if you will, into the thing I'm supposed to do that day, is I've gotten where when I have a counseling practice and I have a little office, and I'm so blessed because it's at the Creekside Center, and it's all in the redwoods. It's beautiful. It's just nestled there with trees and vegetation. And so when I'm waiting for a client now, I've gotten where I stand at the door because there's nobody around me. It's just so silent. And there's these beautiful trees, and I just kind of not think about the client or not think about what I want to say or any of that. Just see the shadows, the play of the leaves and the sunlight and the shadows on the trees. That's just another example, okay? So what I'd like to ask you to do now is we're going to have silence for a moment, and I'd like you to think of something that you do routinely and kind of imagine a way that you could bring qualities of spirit somehow into that activity. And then I'm going to ask you to share it with another person, so don't make it anything embarrassing. So let's close our eyes and let's just ask ourselves, okay? Okay, so hopefully you found something. So I'd like you to turn to someone near you, or it doesn't matter if you know them or not, find another person. Just take 15 seconds to tell them what you found. I'm going to come over here with you. Okay. So turn my mic off, John, for a minute. Okay. So, presumably, by sharing it with another person, it solidified the idea in your mind so that it will occur to you when you have the opportunity, okay? The second kind of strategy, if you will, for bringing these two together, clock time and spirit time, is coming from, I don't have it with me, but I've mentioned before the book Perennial Philosophy. It's just, I can't recommend it highly enough. It just, it's about all the different spiritual philosophies that have been, like, since the beginning of time, spiritual teachings, and what they have in common. And of course, the things they have in common are the same things, principles that we learn here. This is like a healthy spirituality, what we have here at Unity in Marin. So it's a great book. And there's a quote that I have from it that I wanted to read together. Or not to read together, just to have you read, and I'll say it. The universe is an everlasting succession of events. True. But its ground, according to the perennial philosophy, is the timeless now of the divine spirit. Thank you. So that makes sense, right? I mean, we really know that. You know, that the succession of events measured in clock time, but the truth is the divine ground of timelessness. So we can know that up here, but I just want to talk about it like down here for a minute, in the heart space, okay? Let's think about it like this. So we're born into this world. I believe our soul chooses to come into a particular time and place. But when we're born, anybody who's been around a newborn or an infant or can remember their own beginnings knows all we know is the now. An infant, the furthest thing from what they can do is know anything about time. They are fully, completely, totally present with whatever is going on for them. They're completely present, right? And that's because they're coming fresh out of their spiritual self. They haven't learned yet how to cover it over or move it underground. That's all that they are, is their spiritual self coming into this world. So then we go through our conditioning, which is, we got to have conditioning. It's our socializing. So they learn that their body is part of them by continually running into it, and they learn that I'm different from my mother, I'm different from my father, you know, that they're a separate being. Then we start learning how to think, and then we start learning about time later and sooner. So we just get conditioned into clock time as we get conditioned into ego, having an ego and knowing who we are and all that. So that's all our conditioning that goes on our whole life. Well, guess what? If we get to live a long life, hopefully, the idea as we develop spiritually over the course of our lifetime is that we also develop the ability to go back to that now. That yes, we have our conditioning, yes, we get really, really good at our succession of events, and let us develop the ability spiritually to be able at will, or when the opportunity presents itself, to move beyond the clock time and to feel our real self. We're feeling our real self. We're feeling our self that is eternal and timeless, without boundaries, without any second hand. Just same self we came in as. And of course, the same self we are when we leave this body. But we can get to where we can experience that. Maybe through meditation, just different ways. But I want to suggest a way that we can move toward that if we're not real good at it. If we're not real good at it, we want to start loosening the conditioning that we have that keeps us so firmly plugged into the clock time, okay? And move toward that, being able to access our spirit time. So you're going to laugh because this is so simple, but it's our thoughts. We get taught how to think in our conditioning. We get taught what to think, too. But this thinking just becomes so automatic. And our thinking, like I said about our emotions, indeed creates our life. So we can start changing our thinking. We don't have to say, God, I don't know how I'm going to get through this day. Instead, we could say, you know, I think everything's going to line up all right. We can say, instead of, I can't be there. You know, sometimes I'll ask people if we can meet at 10, and they start going over the list of the things they have to do. I didn't want to know all that. I just wanted to know if we could meet at 10, you know? But I'm not faulting anyone, because I'm sure I've done that too. We always do what we criticize other people for. So I'm sure I've done that, but we have such a habit of saying, well, I can't because this, and this. Instead, we could say, I'd love to meet you at 10. Could we make it 10:30? You know, we don't have to think about how much we have to do. So I've found a few that really work well for me. One of them, this is not about time, but I just have to tell you how I started on this path. When I first learned, time? Do I have to hurry? Okay. I'll go a little faster. Sorry. I get into stories and I take too long. Okay. So I'll try to speed up. So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. When I first learned about changing your thinking about money, you know, I learned that I don't want to always be afraid about money. So one of the phrases I learned was when a bill would come in that I didn't expect, or a parking ticket, I'd say, thank God I'm rich. And I would just feel it, you know, and I would feel that feeling would go away. So with time, we can say, one of my favorites is, I have all the time in the world. Sounds silly, but it serves me. And another one of my favorites is, you know, it's all going to work out. It always does. It's all going to work out. So again, take a moment and think of an affirmation that works for you. something that is personal to you, that you're going to say when you start getting grabbed about being too busy. Take a minute. We're going to be quiet for 15 seconds, and then we're going to share it with somebody. So. Okay, so share the affirmation you got with somebody near you. I'm coming over there this time. Okay, hopefully you found an affirmation that will work for you. Okay, the last strategy for getting free of time that I want to share is based on the ideas of quantum physics. Like Steve mentioned, I'm so excited. This author of The Physics of God, Joseph Selby, is coming Friday night from Noetic Sciences. And it's going to be great. And he says some things in here about the truth about... We have a quantum physicist here. Come on, Sky. How does quantum physics talk about time? Could you use the mic? Okay. No more than 1 minute, because we're low on time.
I'm all entangled. So
how would you simple? Keep it simple. Never mind, I'm just teasing you.
I research light, and all physicists over time have researched light. And what we know about light is that light is timeless. Light seems to come from the sun and take 8 minutes to get to our eyes, but there's actually what one physicist calls virtual contact between us and the sun, because there's no space and no time between us and the sun. And this is a study of spacelessness and timelessness. And so there's no separation between you and the future branches of whatever tree that you're on, your future possibilities. And there's no separation between you and the past in that same way. All from the fact that you're bathed in this timeless thing that we call light.
Thank you. Thank you. So you might have heard, thank you, Sky. Nice that you're here today. You might have heard of Richard Feynman, one of the most famous physicists, quantum physicists, the one they called crazy because he was so silly. Here's what he had to say. Don't keep saying to yourself, if you can possibly avoid it, how can it be like that? He said, we can't question quantum physics. Nobody knows how it can be like that. It just is. So what I'd like to suggest is that you check out The Power of Now. That's one of the best books I've seen on now. Yeah, isn't it great about how to be in the now? And what I want us to do now for our last exercise is to realize that we can connect with spirit time even when we're really busy, okay? The way I have learned to do it is with my tools, my senses, my body, my seeing, my touch, my hearing. And I'll be in the middle of something, and I'm starting to do this more and more. I'll be in the middle of something. I want to go to that gap of no time when God can come in. So what I do is I'll be talking with somebody, and all of a sudden I'll remember to look them in the eye. Just for 5 seconds, to look them in the eye, to see them. Or I'll be walking from my car to my house, and I'll hear a leaf rustling, just rustling. And so it just stops you. It just stops you from the dun, 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 dun. I'm going here, I'm going there, I gotta do that. It just stops you for a second. But that stopping is opening the door to God. It really is. So I want you to take a minute, 10 seconds, and just think what might work for you. Just make a plan. Whether you want to use your vision or your hearing. Okay. May you remember that. May you take the time to do that. So all we've been talking about today is shifting our inner consciousness, shifting our feelings, our thoughts inside of ourselves. We don't have to worry about how to create more time. We just shift our inner space. Time will take care of itself. So let's do our denial and affirmation together. We'll say it together. Pretty quick. All right, let's say our denial. I no longer think thoughts that create what I do not want. In our affirmation, I am the stillness at the center of time. And our ushers are coming forward. And let's feel together the beauty, the wonder of our beloved community and how happy we are to be here and to know that we spill over out of that joy into supporting each other and our unity in Marin. Thank you.
Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden mean. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love. Love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weed. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love. Love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weed. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love. Love gives it back.
The simple things that live inside me have found an open door, and I finally recognize who I've become. And the knowing that has always known me is now easy to my lips. I realize the beauty of my gifts. I am more than I ever thought I'd be, welcoming the new, welcoming the new, and I am the change I always hoped to see, welcoming the new me. And the day can pass me quickly by without seeing all I've done and all the many blessings I've begun. And the people that I've brushed my heart upon, just going through their day. And I have helped them find a state of grace. I am more than I ever thought I'd be. Welcoming the new, welcoming the new, and I am the change I always hoped to see. Welcoming the new me. Welcoming, welcoming, welcoming the new. Welcoming, welcoming, welcoming the new. Welcoming, welcoming, welcoming the new. Welcoming the new me. I want you to stand up and clap with me. Welcoming, welcoming, welcoming the new. Welcoming, welcoming, welcoming the new. Welcoming, welcoming, welcoming the new. Welcoming the new me. One more time, sing along if you want. Welcoming, welcoming, welcoming the new. Welcoming, welcoming, welcoming the new. Welcoming, welcoming, welcoming the new. Welcoming the new me. And I am more than I ever thought I'd be. Welcoming the new. Welcoming the new. And I am the change I always hoped to see. Welcoming the new me. Welcoming the new me. Welcoming the new us.
You can do the blessing.
So we give thanks for the gloriousness of this community and the feeling of giving and receiving and life flowing through us. It is good, and so it is. Amen. Let's say our prayer together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Thank you, Reverend Pat.
Yeah.
It's now we learned a lot today. There's lots of things that we didn't know before. Only you could get away with talking about time and spiders and make it all work. I mean, it's really quite extraordinary. Excuse me, I just. There. That is just too weird. So I want to also thank you for giving us a heads up, making sure there were no children here before you shared with us what it is you do in the morning when you first wake up in bed. That was because I could hear some of the kids say, "Mommy, why does Reverend Pat talk to spiders in the morning?" And the spider's also a child of God in its own way, and then I hear Sky's voice. He's saying, "Oh, well, yeah, honey, we all came from that big, great moment, the Big Bang. We were all born at the same time, and the spider went that way, and we went this way, and then I was thinking, your explanation, whatever you do to think the way you do or take, would you share with me afterwards? Because I'd like some of that too. That was wild about the sun. But anyway, thank you for sharing your spiritual gifts with us today and being a good teacher that you are. And I'm very proud to say I don't wear a watch, so I feel very enlightened. And it just explains why I'm late to everything. But other than that, thank you. It was a wonderful service. So our third core commitment is to serve. Please join me in this affirmation. We serve Spirit, the community, and the world with love, joy, and a sense of adventure. If you're interested in becoming a member of Unity in Marin, one of the only requirement we have is that you take the Unity A Way of Life class. It's an introduction into the principles that we teach here at Unity. Medora's been teaching this class for years, and that's starting up on September 30th. So, oh, okay. Okay. Well, if you're going, you already know that, so why am I even telling you? You know what's going on. You made time for this class, and now is the time. Starts today. Very good. Okay. So I will ignore that, the 30th. I think if I take my glasses off, I might do a better job on look at this in front of me. Prayer chaplain introduction today. Yes, Michelle's our chief prayer chaplain here. And if you have a calling or an inkling or have always wondered what it would be like, because you've all been on the receiving end of what a prayer chaplain does, if you have any interest at all, and it just could be a quiet little voice in there, maybe not this time, but come and find out what it's about. And they'll be meeting next door in our room, the bride's room, after second service. So if you think you might want to learn more a little bit about that, or you're questioning whether you'd like to be a chaplain, talk to Michelle after the service. Coming up in November, May McCarthy will be here again. She's been here before. She's a wonderful speaker. Yeah. And she, another brilliant thing that we do in spirituality now, she doesn't separate spirituality and prosperity. She does this with them, and she's a very successful businesswoman, but she brings spiritual processes into those businesses. So if you're a business owner or just like to know more about that, you'll want to sign up for that class. And of course, thanks to all our hospitality sponsors and our flower sponsors and our flower arrangers, I think is the word, how much we appreciate that. You can sign up to be a sponsor out in the courtyard after the service. And I just want to remind you, at the end of the corridor by the coffee, our bookstore is always open during Sunday. And this is a place that you can browse, look at the books that we have there, music that we have there, tchotchkes you can buy there. But also, if there's a book that you want to buy, and it doesn't even have to be spiritual, Christine will order it for you and have it in a few days. So please utilize that wonderful service that we have for you there. Michelle, would you have the rest of your prayer chaplains and yourselves please rise? And I think all of them were at the party last night. Boy, you should have seen them last night. Oh, wow. Now they got their whites on and they look angelic. You guys were wonderful last night. It was awesome. And they are also awesome this morning because they're here to be with you in prayer after the service. If you are feeling the need to share something deep or personal, a concern, a joy, and you just need a wonderful ear to be the recipient of that, please seek out one of our chaplains after the service. Thank you, chaplains. And if the rest of you would please join them by rising and joining me in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Our peace song, please.